So, not all of us happen to have a large sum of money that we can put into an account. A lot of times, what we do is do what we call savings plans. This is where we actually make a periodic deposit into a savings account and we can watch the money grow that way. So, this section is about savings plans. And the savings plan formula looks really confusing, but it's not that bad if you just kind of work with it as you go. Um, it kind of is a combination of the exponential growth formula and some other pieces, and I'm not going to show you the derivation of where it comes from, but this is the formula, F being your future value, what you want to actually have in the future. PMT is how much you're actually putting into that account. It's a payment. You're paying yourself in a savings account, in a savings plan. So you're paying yourself, and that's why it's called a payment. And then 1 plus R over N to the NT is part of the compound interest formula. It is part of the formula, but there's more to it. And then there's this minus 1 up here. And then you're going to divide by this R over N. So again, F is the future value. PMT is what you're actually going to pay to yourself. Usually you do that monthly. Some people do it quarterly. Some people do it annually. But usually it's a month that you're doing as a way to pay yourself. This is a good way to actually save money for yourself, is to set up a way to pay yourself every month into an account. The R is your annual percentage rate, and the T is the number of years you're going to be doing it for. And the N is how many payments you're going to make per year. It's also how many compounding periods you have per year, and they're going to be the exact same. So your N is not just the number of payments per year, but also the number of compounding periods per year. So, let's say we get an example. Let's say you're going to make a $50 payment. You're going to get 4.5% interest per year. So that's 0.045 is your R. And you're going to do this for 5 years. And you're thinking, well, $50 isn't very much, but let's see what this grows to. So we're going to take this formula, since we're talking about making payments. We're going to use the savings plan formula. Put all the numbers in the right place. So payment is 50. R is 0.045. You're making monthly payments, so the N is 12. And you're going to make it for 5 years, so you have 12 times 5. And you just plug the numbers in. You want to find your future value. How much money will you have in these 5 years? So the easiest way to deal with this is kind of looking, and how to type in your calculator, is to kind of look at these big parentheses here. You want to put these in. So you're going to put 50 and then times and put a big parenthesis. Then you notice some red parentheses are written here. That means you want to add these in. So any parentheses you actually see in this, make sure you add in. And even though this looks like a bracket, you do want to put a parenthesis in your calculator. So you're going to do 50 and then parenthesis, and then parenthesis 1 plus 0.045 divided by 12, because that's what your interest rate is and your compounding periods, to the 12 times 5. So you're going to notice you're going to put this parenthesis in that kind of says here's the top. Then this parenthesis is this 1 plus 0.045 divided by 12. Close that, raise it to, and then put this in parentheses also to make sure it does the 12 times 5. And then minus 1, and that's your whole top, so that's why you close this parenthesis. And then you want to divide by, and then you want a parenthesis because you want to make sure you do the division of the bottom before you divide that into top. 0.045 divided by 12, close that parenthesis, and you get how much money you're going to have. So if you always do these by putting in the blue and the red parentheses that are written here, you'll actually be able to get the answer every time. Notice you have, after 5 years, $3,357.28. So it didn't seem like very much that you were saving every month, but it does amount to an awful lot of money. If you went for 20 years, again, we're going to change the 5 to 20, but everything else stays the same. Make sure you put all these parentheses in that we had before. And now after 20 years, you're going to have $19,000. So one thing you can think of is if you have a child and you want to have money for this child to go to school, well, this is the way to do it. You can actually save $50 a month, and in 20 years when they're ready to go to college, or maybe while they're in college, they're going to have $19,000 that they can play with. So it doesn't look like you're saving very much, but it does amount to a lot of money. Now the question is, how much of that is actually money you put in there, and how much of it is actually from interest? So for the 5 years, the easiest way to figure this out is not using any kind of neat formulas, but just saying, hey, I took $50. I put it away every month, so that's 50 times 12. So that would be $600 a year I put away. And then times 5, because I did it for 5 years, so that's $3,000 that you physically put into the bank. And then if you want to know how much interest you actually made, well, you made $3,357.28. That's how much is in that account. Well, if you take your $3,000 that you put in, you find out, hey, I made $357.28 in interest. 20 years, same thing. You're going to do your $50 that you're putting away every month times 20 times 12. That tells you put in physically $12,000, but you made $19,000. So that means the amount of money you made in interest was over $7,000 in interest. So you're not, anytime you're being asked how much did you get from interest, you would never actually use any interest formula. You just basically take how much you made minus how much you actually contributed. All right, so what if you know how much you need to save up to over a certain period of time? So let's say you want to buy a car in 5 years, and you know you need to have the money for that. And you want to find that periodic payment that you actually have to make. And so we're going to take this formula for payment, and we're going to solve for the payment. So here's your savings formula, and you want to get the PMT all by itself. So if you take this fraction and multiply by its reciprocal, it would go away. But whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So we end up with that the savings plan formula solved for payment is your payment is equal to your future value times R over N, and then this thing in the denominator. And what's nice about this is, let's say you do know that you want to save money for a trip to Europe and you want to have $10,000 to do it on, and you know you're going to do that in 3 years, then you can actually find out how much do you need to put away every month to do that trip. So as an example, let's say you want to have $35,000. You want to have that in 5 years. You're able to get 4% interest, and you're going to put it away every quarter. So this is where you're going to earn this interest every quarter, and you're going to put this money away every quarter. So I want to know what my payment would be. So again, once I see the word I want to find payment, I go grab this formula. So again, it would be helpful to have all the formulas in one place. So you can just look through and say, oh, I want payment. That's the formula I want to use. So when you do that, you put the $35,000 in. You put your R value over your N value in the top. And then you divide by your denominator, the big denominator. And again, you're going to start with the 35,000, put in this parenthesis. You want the 0.04 divided by 4. You want to do that together, so you want to put those in parentheses. Big division bar. And then again, the big parenthesis to say I want the whole denominator done first. This little parenthesis to say I want this number found first. Raised to the 4 times 5 in parentheses. Or you can just type in 20, because you know 4 times 5 is 20. And then minus 1. And then close all the parentheses. So it finds out that your payment, in order to have $35,000 in 4 years, in 5 years, you have to put away $1,589.54 every quarter. Now you probably wouldn't put in 54 cents, but you would want to round this always up, because otherwise if you don't round it up, you won't have enough money. So you want to put in $1,590 every quarter. Probably is what you want to do. So, let's say I want to find a savings plan. I want to find out the time in the future. So, let's say I have a payment of $450. I want to have a future value of $15,000, and my interest rate is 7.2% or 0.072, and I'm going to put money away every month. So we can figure this out, put all the numbers in the right place. Again, I know I'm using a savings plan, so I'm using this formula. And I put all my numbers in. I need to get rid of this 450 because it's kind of a pain, so I'll divide both sides by 450. And then this number down here, I can find out what that is, and it's kind of bothering me also, so I'm going to multiply both sides by it to get rid of it. And then this minus 1 is a bit of a problem, so I'm going to add 1 to both sides. And now I notice, oh, I have 1.2 and then this 1.006 raised to 12t. And again, I want to solve for t. So that t's up here. And remember what I was saying before is if you take the log of both sides, again, this is log base 10 of both sides, there's a rule that says I can bring that 12t out in front. So that was a really nice rule that we had. So we're going to take the log of both sides, and that gives me the log of 1.2 equals 12t, the log of this 1.006. Now remember, log of 1.006 is just a number, log of 1.2 is just a number, and 12 is just a number. You want to get t by itself, so you're going to divide out the 12, and you're going to divide out this log of 1.006 to get the t all by itself. And when you do that, you get t is equal to 2.5 years. And that's how we can solve these problems for when we have a savings plan.